Horrifying true Snapchat horror stories. But what the fuck is y'all ass sending me for? My last most disturbing video, goddamn, that hoe started jumping, fool. So I had to come back and do a couple more of these hoes, goddamn. Try to get that YouTube bag, you know what I'm saying? Make sure y'all go subscribe, STA KT though. Make sure y'all subscribe to Really KT too, fool. I don't know if y'all ain't know, fool. I do music first. I'm an artist first, goddamn. And I'm hard as fuck, so y'all let go forward with that, goddamn. Subscribe to the music. And I do this to get the bag for to put it into the music, you know what I'm saying? Shit like that, gotta come first. You know what I'm saying? We just active, goddamn. Three horrifying true Snapchat horror story, goddamn. See, fool, Snapchat got that, they got that location shit where you can see your friend location and shit. I turned my shit off as soon as they came out with that feature. You know, Snapchat in like 2-3 years, goddamn. Anyway, really stopped getting on that shit. Goddamn. I really stopped getting on that hoe after high school. And let's get into it, for back to back to back to back. Hell no. Alright. Snap map horror stories. Oh my god. Oh my god, I'm scared. I'm so scared. Boy,
this happened back in 2016, during that sort of killer clown phase. I don't know if you guys remember that, but if you were in the US during that time, there's a good chance you know what I'm talking about.
I never had no interference, but I seen videos, goddamn.
This sick trend where people would dress up as clowns and scare people became insanely popular.
Drop down below the comment.
It had a lot of people scared, and rightfully so, as some scary stories came from the whole ordeal. But if I'm being honest, it never really bothered me, at least at the time. Now, I think it's important to note that I had just recently moved, and because of that, I started going to a new high school. Word must have got out about my Snapchat username, as I had a ton of new people from the school adding me. I had given my username to a few people, so I didn't think it was that weird. I simply added everyone back that added me. I checked, and most of them showed up on the snap map nearby to my high school, so it wasn't like I was adding back complete strangers. I remember it was Friday. I had just gotten back from school, and it was 8 p.m. The reason I'd stayed so late was because the school had volleyball tryouts that same night, and back then I was really into that sort of thing.
I'm confused.
I remember when I got home, I got something to eat when my cousin texted me, asking if she could come over. I of course said yeah, since after all it was a Friday.
Add me on PSN.
Around an hour later, we were sitting in the living room
STA
watching Netflix.
Little gang, goddamn.
At some point,
Gang sure.
I don't remember exactly when. I jokingly told my cousin to look out the window just behind her. A little weird, I know, but we always used to mess with each other and try to scare the other person. Though, this time, when she looked over her shoulder, she didn't look back right away. She replied, saying she thought she actually saw someone. Not thinking anything of it, I just figured she was trying to scare me back, and pretty much forgot about it. That was until about an hour later, when out of nowhere, my dog jumped up, ran to the front door, and started barking aggressively. My cousin and I both looked at each other. Something to be noted is my dog is insanely quiet, only barking when he feels threatened. It actually startled me, as I hadn't even heard him bark for months. I thought it might have been possible that he heard a noise from the TV or something, but the movie we were watching had ended like 30 minutes ago, and we were both just sitting in silence on our phones. Keep in mind, at this point it was around midnight. Finally, around 1 a.m., my cousin and I decided to go upstairs and start getting ready to go to sleep. I still remember this moment perfectly to this day. I was laying down, on my phone checking Snapchat, when I decided to open the snap map. And that's when I saw it. According to the map, 4 other people were at my location, as in close enough to where Snapchat groups your Bitmojis together. One of them was my cousin, but the other 3 were random Bitmojis I'd never seen before. I started thinking of all the possibilities of who would be this close to me. I went through all their profiles, but I didn't remember adding a single one of them. I know I must have at some point without realizing it, as like I said, I have been adding a lot of new people recently. Now a little worried, I told my cousin, and we went downstairs to check and make sure all the doors were locked. Something that should be mentioned is it had been snowing for a better part of the day, and as we checked the doors, we couldn't help but notice fresh footprints signifying people had been walking around the property.
There were
Lord. Some in the backyard, which was gated, meaning whoever it was.
How much you wanna bet they white, fool?
We were We're genuinely worried now.
Oh my god.
When I checked the snap map, it said the 3 guys' locations were last seen an hour ago. And an hour ago was when my dog started viciously barking at the front door for no reason.
Ooh.
The more I thought about everything, the more
Y'all
it seemed
dog
to
be
connect.
barking for no reason,
There was
fool?
really
Do they
nothing
be
we
like
could do.
looking?
As
Do they like
we searched
randomly
the
get
whole
up and
house
look
locked all
like
the doors.
to the other
Cousin and I
room or
were the only
something?
ones supposed to be home.
It be cause dogs
We
hearing
didn't want to call
stuff,
the
fool. Dogs be
police, as we didn't even
psychic,
know if we were in
fool.
any true
Well, not
danger.
psychic, goddamn, but they
That
be
was when I
hearing
remembered
higher
the house actually
frequencies
did have
and shit like
multiple
that. They can
cameras around
see
the
shit. You
property.
know, dog.
And I
Majority of
figured we could
dogs
check
colorblind,
those.
fool. So you know when they
The reason I only
colorblind,
remembered
they
just
can
then
see through the
is because, like I
future,
said, we had
and
only
they can
just
see through
recently
the
moved into
herb
the house.
better than humans
Our
can,
last
fool.
house was pretty
And then
old,
they
so we didn't have
ears
anything
better
close to
too, goddamn.
cameras.
It be the higher frequency,
Anyway,
goddamn.
we started
You know
looking
what
through
I'm
what the
talking
cameras had picked up
about?
within
Drop
the
down in
last
the
few
comments, you know what I'm talking
hours. Now, when going through the footage, you could actually turn on a setting so that it would only show you the clips where motion was detected.
Bruh.
So I selected
Snap map,
it.
no.
I started playing clip after
Snapchat,
clip
period,
from cameras
no.
that detected motion.
Unless they give me that bag, the
Most all of
post.
them just featured
No.
tree branches blowing in front of the camera, or normal stuff like that. But eventually, we were shown a clip of some random people we'd never seen before walk
Oh,
up on
Lord.
our property. They were all dressed head to toe in
Pretty
clown
bad
costumes, each carrying a baseball bat in their hands. More clips were shown of the clowns walking around. More times than once, you could see as they cupped their hands against the windows in an attempt to look inside. My cousin and I were both absolutely terrified at this point, and we instantly called the cops. Though we didn't think it'd do much good, as all the clips were about an hour old. When they finally arrived, they asked us a few questions and looked around the property, verifying that nobody was still lurking around. Of course, at that point they didn't find anyone, and just told us they'd patrol the neighborhood for the rest of the
I seen
night.
some shit.
We would end up making a report on the clowns for trespassing, and gave the cops as much information as we could, including some of the footage, and even the Snapchat usernames of the profiles that were on our location. I would of course block all the accounts, but made sure to get a ton of screenshots before doing so. I still don't know who those people were, or how they were able to get my Snapchat. This whole ordeal has been very stressful and scary for me, my cousin, and the rest of
Oh,
us
me
family.
beat on that hoe.
I'm still shaken up by the thought that they could return at any point with worse intentions.
Find out who Yomi
Eh.
is texting. Today I'm going to show you how to expose anyone with just their phone number.
Story 2. Oh my god. Nah, that shit was crazy. That shit was crazy as fuck. What the fuck?
A couple years ago, when I was 15, I was really big into Snapchat. I was kind of obsessed with building my Snap score, so I would add random friends and accept random requests to do so. It was pretty weird, I know, but being that young, my Snap score was a number that mattered to me for whatever reason. Now, a lot of my friends from school and I have this group chat. I remember it was a Saturday when one of them mentioned we should go to the mall. A lot of them agreed, and I wanted to as well, but realized I didn't have a ride. So, I posted it on my story if anyone was able to pick me up and take me.
What the fuck?
I was more so expecting someone I knew to respond, like my cousin or something.
Why would you go with a
But
stranger?
I
I
got a
already see
Snapchat
how
back
they
from this guy I'd
I
never
already
talked
see
to
how they
before.
finna go.
Or at least his Bitmoji
What
was
the
a guy.
fuck?
But
Come
either
on
way,
now,
I didn't
fool.
know
Be
who
for
it
real.
was.
Goddamn.
It said he was my friend on Snapchat, but we had never had a single conversation or even shared any pictures back and forth before. He texted me something about how he was bored and had nothing better to do. I remember responding to him, asking if he even lived in the same state. It turns out he did, but the town he said he lived in was at least a 2-hour drive from me. I told him not to worry about it, and I didn't want him to drive 2 hours just to take me to the mall. But he quickly responded saying why not. At this point, the whole conversation
Bored
fell
ass
off to
nigga.
me.
Would y'all
He
ass drive 2
insisted.
hours just to take a female
I
to
finally
mall?
ended up agreeing.
Women, would y'all drive
I
2
told him he
hours
could come
just to
pick
take
me
a
up,
dude somewhere?
but only if he was willing to send
Take
me
a
a
dude down
picture
the
of
street.
himself. I was just trying to be cautious.
Come on now.
A couple minutes
Be
later,
for
he sent
real,
me a snap.
goddamn. Be
I
for
opened it, just
What?
to see some
That was a
30-year-old
notification
guy
pop-up.
looking back at me.
But be
The
for
guy
real.
had on a really dirty hat,
Drop down
smiling
in the
at the
comments,
camera.
y'all ass drive 2 hours.
Like
I
half of
wouldn't
his
even drive
teeth were
2 hours.
missing.
I wouldn't even drive an hour
Captioned
for
on the
that
snap
cootie
said he
cat,
was on
even
his
if it
way.
was rest assured. I
I
wouldn't
sat
even
there for a
I
second
barely
thinking
drive
it
30
over in my
minutes.
head.
Oh God.
How did the guy know where
That's
to
too
pick me
long.
up?
You couldn't have me,
He
goddamn.
asked
I'm
for my
sorry.
address.
Straight like
That's when
that.
my heart dropped, realizing I had my Snap map on, meaning that anyone I had as a friend on the app could easily find my address. I panicked and quickly responded to the guy apologizing, saying I actually had a closer friend willing to take me. Now, obviously that wasn't true, but the fact that this guy was willing to drive 2 hours to pick someone up he had never even met before, just from their location on the Snap map alone, gave me an off vibe. Plus, the guy looked insanely creepy. Definitely not someone I'd feel comfortable being around. The guy
Hell
opened the
no.
snap a couple minutes later, but never responded. As far as I know, he never showed up. Though, I live in a cul-de-sac, and usually we wouldn't get any cars passing by our house. But I swear, for at least the next few days, there was this same black SUV that would constantly drive by.
Oh,
If that was related or
hell
not,
no.
I don't know. Though, about a month later, I was on Facebook scrolling through my feed. I passed a news story that had one of those attachments
course
meaning it was
you did.
sourced on a different website.
The fuck?
I almost always scroll
Who
past
else it
those
gonna be?
things, but I couldn't help but stop for this one. There, on my Facebook feed, I could clearly see a picture of that guy from Snapchat. There was no doubt in my mind it was the same guy. The headline of the news story read that he was arrested for attempted murder. This whole experience makes me think I dodged a major bullet by trusting my gut and not accepting a ride from the guy. The whole situation shook me up for a while, and nowadays I try to be a lot smarter.
Oh
and
my
only allow people I
goodness.
trust to see me on the snap map.
Snapchat or no, son. Fool, all you gotta do for it, watch something like
I'm
this,
a
bro.
female, and when I was a sophomore in high school, I took a lot of different classes. One of them I don't think I'll ever forget. It was a history class, and the regular teacher for the class had another job on top of teaching. And because of this, we would often get a substitute teacher for the class. It was always the same guy. I would say he was at least in his mid-50s. Nothing ever struck me as odd about him, since, if I'm being honest, I rarely even ever paid attention in that class. That was until one day. I was in the middle of working on a project he assigned, but every time I looked up from my paper, he was just staring at me.
Oh, hell no.
Every time I would look at him, he wouldn't even break eye contact and try to play it off either. One of the times I looked up, I noticed he had his phone pointed in my direction. It looked like he was taking pictures of me. I of course was creeped out, but didn't say anything in case I was wrong. Anyway, a few weeks later, somehow, which I still don't know how to this day, the guy found my Snapchat username and added me. I knew it was him too, as he had his full name on the account. I didn't know what to do,
Oh, folks.
but I still regret the decision I made. Knowing he had an influence on my grade, I ended up adding him back. A few minutes later, he sent me a snap saying hey. He had his face in it and everything. At this point, I knew something wasn't right. I took a screenshot of the snap and left him on red. He quickly followed up with another snap, this time a black screen with a question mark as the caption. I again left him on red and forgot about the whole situation. Over the next few weeks, there were multiple occasions where I would check the snap map just to see him not far away. And this would happen anywhere too, not just at school. I would be at the mall with my friends, for example, and see he just so happened to be at the same mall.
Bro, you can't
Or
be
even
serious,
sometimes
man.
at school, when I knew for a fact he didn't work that day. Though, overall, for a solid month, nothing but those supposed coincidences took place regarding the whole situation. But of course, a few days later, I would get a random message from him. I could tell it was a chat this time, and not a regular snap. I opened it, and I was absolutely horrified. He sent around 50 pictures of me in pretty much any situation. Some were of me at school, but others confirming my suspicion about him following me on the snap
Oh my
map,
fucking god.
me not on school campus.
Excuse me,
Obviously,
goddamn, that
I
shit
left him on
nasty
red,
and weird as fuck.
screenshotted everything and blocked him. I instantly told my parents, and they notified both the school and the police. It's been 2 years since the situation. I'm a senior now, and ever since he sent the pictures, I'd never seen him again. I could only assume he was fired, as we actually got another substitute teacher who was really nice. Overall, the whole situation was really disturbing. The fact that I had someone following me around and taking pictures of me just based on my location on the snap map for a good month of my life absolutely
Bro, that shit
terrifies
crazy,
me.
but that's why I do not be on
I
that
deleted
bitch.
Snapchat shortly after the whole experience, and like I said, I haven't seen the guy since,
Snapchat.
so I'm not entirely sure whatever ended up happening to him.
Straight on that shit. Straight on that shit, tough. What the fuck? Oh my goodness. We ain't fucking with that shit. Anyway, for that, it for this video. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, goddamn. Let me know in the comment what y'all want to see next. Don't be on Snapchat for I don't fuck with that shit. Y'all shouldn't fuck that shit either. If they giving you that bag. Goddamn.